Welcome back, everyone, to another great episode of Basscast Radio. I am your host, Brian Carter. And up top, man, if you guys are watching on YouTube, which I hope you are, Hank the Bass Geek. Welcome back, everyone. Holy cow. It seems like forever because it really has. I mean, we spent a week. You guys don't think about this. I mean, it's crazy, but I spent a couple days just catching up from the Big Bass Tour, which was 2 weeks ago. And then we have Mother's Day. And then this weekend, I'm leaving again Saturday morning to head down for the Cat Championship. So, I mean, it's a lot of time. You guys do. We're going to talk about that later. A lot of time on the water for you guys. A lot of time on the road covering these events for the basscast.com. But welcome back to Basscast Radio. Like I said, we apologize there wasn't a show last week. There is so much going on in the world of bass fishing. This week we have the NPFL down on Hartwell. So hopefully you guys read that article that went out yesterday. And that's going to be a great event. If you guys are anywhere in the Hartwell, if you guys are anywhere in that area, please go support them. I mean, really, I mean, head on over there. If you love bass fishing as much as we do, we're bass geeks, as you can tell at the top. If you love bass fishing as much as we do, and you're in the area, please swing on by and promote them, take some photos, blow them up, tag them on social media, let people know you're there. They have a great series. They do a great job, and they're waiting in the background. And we've talked about they're waiting in the background, see what's going to happen, see if they're going to become number one. I don't,
a lot of stuff, man. A lot of stuff. Now, listen. I'm going to go ahead and interrupt with that cough and just let everybody know this is Bass Geek. If you're just listening and not watching, I got a little touch of pneumonia, so you might not recognize the voice.
Heck yeah. He's dying, everybody.
But yeah, man, it's been, I don't know, I thought the Murray event was a great event.
Yeah.
And then I come into this week because, we're both big fans of the P-Dub, the sheriff with the mustache.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
I'm so happy to see the mustache back. I ain't going to lie, number one. Can't wait until we get to talk to him. But I mean, I know it seems like it's fired up the live scope argument again and the young versus old, which I totally don't understand with this event. Because that's how Murray fishes. Like it's fished that way before live scope was ever a thought in somebody's, pea shooter.
That's true. That's true.
So it's like, I mean, sure it helps, but they wasn't catching them because of live scope. They were catching them because they'd have to wait till they busted.
That's right.
That's how it's always fished.
And it was awesome watching. I ain't gonna lie. I watched a couple days of it myself, and it was definitely fun watching. I mean, good gosh, them plastic swim baits just coming across the daggone water. I mean, rubber swim baits. I mean, coming across the water, and you see them fish just busting on top of that. I mean, we're talking about 3-4 pounds they're throwing back. I mean, it was a great event. Like I said, like he said, congratulations to Patrick Walters on winning that. That is his 5th Bassmaster Elite victory.
Yeah,
brand new baby there. I mean, he's
got a. Oh, and I mean, that ain't even the open victories he's got.
Oh, yeah.
Does he have an NPFL? He's got an NPFL.
He's got 2 NPFL.
That's what I was like. I think
he does have 2 NPFL. I mean, Patrick Walters, to be honest, he is, I don't want to say.
Is it 2 or 300 pound?
Oh, yeah, the century belts. The belts. Yes.
So he's got 2. I don't know if it's 3.
I saw someone, I should have grabbed that off Twitter. I saw someone listed all on Twitter, but the dude is on fire and he's cashing checks wherever he goes.
Current elites also in earnings in 6 years.
Yeah, holy cow. And like what Geek just said there, I mean, the progress, he talked about it in a video that Patrick I saw on I can't remember if it was on Facebook or something like that. But Patrick just has this knack for being able to pick up a specific tactic, lure, rod, reel, setup, whatever it is.
Yep.
And within 30 minutes to an hour, he's got it down pat. I mean,
Yeah.
he can go out there, fish it, and do it well and cash
Yeah.
checks. And that, that's the difference between the pros and the Joes. I mean, I hate to say it. I mean, the Joes have their tactic. And, a lot of guys, I've been doing this thing for many years now. And, I know a lot of guys, I like to drop shot. And that's all they do. I like to throw a jig. And that's about all they do. They live and die by it.
Fishing has progressed, and to be a true sport where you're a one trick, you're a single man sport like golf.
Right.
Or, even less so NASCAR. But if you're going to win a NASCAR championship, you better be good on the short tracks. You better be good on the mile and a half. You better be good on the super speedways. If you're a great golfer, you better be good with a driver, with a wedge, you better be good with an iron. You better be good with a putter. And I think we're seeing the diversity of the sport now, especially with what we're going to be talking about tonight, the young guys. And we think about Patrick because we've seen him so much. It almost feels like he's an old head, but he's a kid.
Yeah.
He really is.
Patrick's just out of college. I mean, not too far out of college. I mean, so like you said, about
late
6 years
20s?
out of.
How old is he now? Maybe 30, maybe.
Maybe. I mean, it's like.
Sorry, Patrick, if we're making you older.
Lie. We'll have to look all this stuff up. I'm not gonna lie because there's like. I'll have to. Let's see here. Let's go to Bassmaster really quick on here. Oop, there it is. And I don't know if it's under this post or not. But it was a whole thing talking about Patrick and talking about him and his career and everything that he's done in bass fishing. And it's crazy. And like you just said, I mean, being able to cash as many checks as he has, win as many events as he has.
Yep.
And let's see here. I do not see it right offhand, but we'll come back to it.
Yeah. Well, anyway, we didn't want to get stuck on the Patrick Waters.
No, we didn't. We didn't want to get stuck.
We ain't got him on here tonight, so we need to talk about other things.
Yeah,
it's just impressive. It was a great tournament. You can tell it was fun. The one good thing about me having pneumonia is I got to actually sit and watch it. I got up every morning, took some meds, and sat on the couch and watch it. And if you didn't get to watch it early when it was on, I'm sorry, because it was a blast.
Yeah, that's true. Patrick, his fish came early in the morning, and Trey McKinney and
Trey, great kid we've had on. Great kid,
all there, and his fish were coming. It come later in the morning. It wasn't coming that first thing. You were talking about the 11, 12, 1 o'clock bite is what they were getting, but. Yeah, the event was awesome. It was, I don't know what to say. I mean, it was watching these boys catch these giant bass. And, I turned it on because it was Championship Monday. I turned it on right when Patrick caught his largest bass of the event. For Patrick, that is. And I got to see that. And you knew then, lights were out, game was over. And what do you win by, like 11 pounds or some mess like that? But.
And there's another title, holds the, not for this tournament, but holds the widest win margin in BASS history.
So he is the Dale Earnhardt of bass fishing. He's
quickly getting there.
Yes. I mean, we
ain't going to crown him the new KVD, but he going to take a minute.
Only thing left is TV. That's about it for him. So, a couple TV shows, but Patrick's a great teacher as well. So
couple anglers of the years, he got to get some of the bigger titles, know, and a couple hopefully, because again, he's a good friend of the show. So again, a couple of hopefully those classic trophies.
That's very true, and hopefully we'll see that soon. All right, let's move on from that because we love to get Patrick on. I called him. We're just waiting for a return.
Oh, he's busy, we're sure.
And we know he's very busy, and he's got a young child as well. So, Patrick, congratulations to you. Guys, tonight, Tucker Smith is going to be on with us. Tackle Warehouse angler, young angler. I got to meet Tucker. face to face at the Classic Red Crest this past year.
Red Crest, yeah.
So I got to meet him down there. Got a photo with him and his wife, or girlfriend. I'm not sure. Either way, I got to finally get to, because we've had him on the show in the past, but tonight, Will, we thought we would get, talk to some of these young anglers and get their thoughts and opinions on the current events that are taking place.
Yeah.
And you guys know, like Geek said before the show started, we thought the drama mama had quieted down. Everything had, everything kind of got on an even keel.
And now we hear that anglers have sent out emails at Bass, and they want to get together and talk about how they're a bunch of crybabies. I mean, listen, I ain't gonna say, Chris, where I watched today, but man, it got me hot under the collar. Under the beard got red, buddy.
So you guys can go there now and see a post from BassGeek. And it's a very long post, but I did read it. So you guys can go there and check it out. Guys, we got Tucker Smith on with us. And like I said, we're going to talk about current events. There's no script. We're just going to have a great time here and talk about bass fishing. Tucker had a great last event. I think he led after day number 1.
He did.
So, I mean, Tucker's coming around. He's a young angler, college angler on top of that. So he's come up through the ranks like some of these kids not. So, I mean, we're going to hit him up.
Getting off the water as he jumped in with us.
Yep. So Tucker Smith, everyone. All right, Tucker Smith, everyone. Welcome back to Basscast Radio. It has been a while since you have been on. Thank you for coming back. Thank you for getting off the water and being with us tonight. I really appreciate that.
Yeah, I appreciate y'all having me. Looking forward to talking.
Personally, I wished you were still on the water showing us some tactics and
that's what I said.
Some top secret stuff that you got up your sleeve.
I just got off the water here at Gunnersville. It was fun day.
I want them tips.
So what's been happening, man? What's been going on in the world, Tucker Smith, besides, the Tackle Warehouse Invitationals?
Oh man, I've just been fishing everywhere, honestly. Just been running around, fishing around the house, fishing the opens, trying to focus on those the most. And then I just fished that invitational and then preparing for the next open in Oklahoma. So
what has it been like for you this year doing the opens? After watching that young team of anglers move up last year and are competing this year in the Bassmaster Elites.
Yeah, I mean it's awesome to just be able to fish those tournaments because those guys are so good. There's a really good rookie class that came into the elites this year. A couple of them are my friends, so hopefully trying to make it to where they're at. It's definitely difficult. I think it's one of the hardest tournament trails in the whole world to compete in. So not sitting bad in points right now. I just got to keep doing good.
Because man, that's a tough qualifying.
It is
set of events. It's a lot of events too.
And people don't understand. I mean, they don't really pay attention to the world of professional bass fishing like we do. But in the Elite Series, there might be 100 and some anglers. We're talking about 200 anglers here in some of these Bassmaster Opens. And how many EQs do they have this year? I know last year they had like 95 or some crazy number.
There's over 100, I think, this year. But then you also have 5 days of practice. So on the opens, everybody's beating them up, and they have so much time to find everything. And those guys are so good that they find everything. And not saying that it's harder than the Elite Series because the Elites are the best in the world, but it definitely doesn't help with 5 days of practice and then 3 days of the tournament.
In the big field. So where are you setting that in points right now? I didn't get a chance to check it right before we got on here.
I'm sitting in 13th right now. So I got to make that top 9 with 5 more to go.
But you had a pretty good finish this last tournament, so
that was
some points.
Yeah, that was your Tackle Warehouse Invitational last tournament.
Oh, that was an invitation.
Yeah, because you finished pretty daggone good in that. What made you jump into that?
I just wanted to fish. I've spent a lot of time out there going to Auburn, so being able to hop in that one was pretty cool. It was a bit of an entry fee, 5,000, but I thought that if I could catch some, they paid. I think it was the top 30, 10 grand. So, and then down to the top 50, I think it was 8 grand. So if you made the top 30, you got to double your money. So it was pretty neat.
So you got a nice paycheck.
Yeah,
Heck yeah, that's all it counts.
Covered your cost anyway, right?
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
It paid for that time on the water.
That's right. No, but I mean, that last open really helped me big time at Logan Martin. That's my home lake, and was able to get second place there a couple weeks ago. And that really jumped me for sure. I'd had a bad finish at Santee Cooper, and I needed another top 10 to get right back up in there. So for sure it helped.
What has it been like for you as a college angler transitioning to these opens?
Oh man, it's pretty crazy. I think college fishing's one of the biggest things to help a young and up and coming fisherman. I think college fishing, you get to go out there and figure everything out on your own. You get to figure out how to, if you blow a tire or have to change a hub on the road, you figure that out. And you have a partner with you too. So it makes it easier, and you get to learn together. So you get to travel around the country and fish all these lakes. A lot of the lakes that you go to in college are lakes that you go to in the open. So it helps.
You have a good travel crew that's helping you split costs now that you're fishing the EQs, or is it just you lone wolfing it out there?
It's me and Paul Marks.
Okay.
He's also doing good right now. So yeah, me and him travel together.
That's good.
That's awesome. Because like I said, I mean, the opens are tough. I mean, lots of tournaments,
lots of
and
travel.
Lots of travel. And, like you said, that is one good thing. Reiterate that is one good thing about coming up through the college rankings, because you are right. I post the results all the time, and a lot of the open events are at past, college locations. But how has it been mentally for you making this transition? I mean, because now the stakes are a little bit higher than what they were in college. I mean, now it's your money. It's your investors, sponsors' money, not investors, but they are sponsors investing in you.
Same thing.
Because really are. I mean, it's the same daggone thing. I mean, they believe in Tucker, and they're giving a hard-earned dollars to you. And now you're fishing on someone else's dime. So now it's more responsibility than when it was just the free-for-all. Not gonna say free-for-all, but I mean, in college it was, you still have to raise your money unless your school has, and a lot of the private schools have the college money. But how has it been mentally for you, man?
Yeah, I mean, it all just kind of boils down to it's just fishing, and I like to have fun. That's it. Definitely is. It's a lot tougher when you think about it, because you're actually fishing for big money and putting a lot of money up. So I try not to think about it like that. I try to just go fishing, break down the lake as best that I can, and hopefully do well enough to make a little money back. That's really the biggest thing. And that's another reason why I spend so much time on the water, so that I can just keep my skills tuned in for every tournament, and spend as much time out there as I can. And yeah, I just like to have fun, man. I like to fish.
So a question, this has been brought up many times here and at the work table, to be honest.
Yep.
Fishing now for the young anglers, it's a job. When we talk about it, and you watched all the videos that Bassett did, from past, what was that series called? I don't know why I can't think of now. The Bassmaster did, came out like about a month or two ago, right after the Classic. But everybody had a 9 to 5, and then they went and fished on weekends, or they fished on a Friday afternoon. But Tucker, you guys are fishing 7 days a week, pretty much.
Yeah, I've definitely fished a lot. I would say the biggest thing that helps me do that is winning that Bass Pro Shops US Open, the championship that we won. That definitely helped me a lot to be able to fish. And you know, kind of get the time out there that I need to. And now being out of college, so it's easier for me to be on the water more.
So how many days a week you feel like you're averaging on the water right now this year?
I would say at least 5.
Wow. That's
Maybe.
incredible. You know, I mean, that's, you know, I know you've heard, you know, we were just talking about it earlier before you come on, and we were talking about how, you know, Bassmaster, there's a bunch of anglers sent out an email and they're going to have this big meeting. And, you know, I seen a thing today that kind of gets me kind of torqued up. You know, I'm a bass geek. That's my YouTube channel. I am a network engineer, Cisco engineer. And for me, I love my electronics. I always have. I remember my little John boat with my first little Lowrance or Humminbird, I believe it was. No, Lowrance grayscale. And I'm out there just graphing ditches.
Tucker ain't old enough to remember that. Good God.
No.
He was in middle school.
That graph's older than him, I'd say. But, you know, but man, you know, kind of, you know, what's your kind of take on the whole forward facing? Are you like forward facing? How do you know, I don't know how you grew up fishing. So what's your deal?
Yeah, I mean, I grew up without it. Like growing up at the house, I fished shallow and I fished, you know, deep without forward facing sonar. And it wasn't until about 2019 when I got it. I think about 2019 is when I first started using it. But yeah, I mean, I if we can have it, I like it. You know, it helps me catch fish. I definitely think that they, you know, if they were to put a limit on it with one transducer or something like that with the same screen, I think that, you know, that maybe could be more of an even playing field for a lot of guys.
I agree.
Not have to spend as much money with 5 different transducers.
I agree.
But, you know, I mean, I like it if I can use it.
Yeah. But, you know, see, what a lot of people don't know, if you've not paid attention, Garmin already has a new transducer out that literally shows in live while that mounts to the back. That's not you know, it shows the fish in the water column, not just 2D, or, you know, like you do on the side imaging. So, you know, technology is going to change. It's going to update. I agree with you. I don't care much for, you know, 30 transducers. I think keep it down to a little bit, you know. But at the same time, look, man, I ain't gonna lie to you. I'd go out there and put them all on my boat in a heartbeat if that's what I needed to do, you know. But I love my live scope. But, you know, I think that's a lot of older guys are getting torqued up because they didn't see the coming together of the time on the water you guys put in and having the live scope. Where I can tell you, I went out when I first got my live scope and, you know, working full time and doing YouTube. I was always considered myself pretty good with my electronics, you know, Tennessee River type fisherman, Highlands Reservoir type fisherman, ultra clear lakes up in Northeast Tennessee, Middle Tennessee. And, you know, so for me, I went out there thinking, oh man, live scope, you use all the traditional thinking just with that, but it has changed. I've said 50% of everything we thought we knew about fish behavior is probably wrong, or wrong to a certain percentage. And, you know, I was catching smallmouth this winter, 80 foot deep, not over 80 foot deep, chasing alewives in 45-degree or less water, you know, 40s. And they wouldn't, you know, they wouldn't dormant. You know, they were in there going, you know. I'm catching largemouth in schools of 200 fish in water that's 15-foot visibility and 20 foot on top water in the middle of the day on bluebird skies in the summer. You know, out there just roaming, hitting balls of shad when they just come by. So tell me anybody seen that coming.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, you could say like, and also like, I would say some of the biggest changes in fishing, I would say mapping, especially, is one of the
Yes.
biggest. One of the biggest. I mean, being able to see the creek channel, being able to see the humps, being able to see the river channel,
Yeah.
every turn and everything like that. That's one of the biggest things. And then also when side scan came out, I mean, you think about Kevin Van Dam when side scan came out, he dominated and won every single tournament for 10 years with side
Yeah.
scan.
Well,
So, I mean, there's a lot of different things that, you know,
now,
stuff changes.
now I know you've done some ledge fishing, and you know I can tell you when ledge fishing really got hot, like you know, there's guys that would go out and we would especially if you're down where was it you said your home lake was again?
Logan Martin's my home lake.
Yeah. So you know Guntersville, Watts Bar, I fish those lakes, a whole lot. But when side scan come out, that's when the Tennessee River, the whole ledge fishing, the Kentucky Lake tournaments really got big, and everybody was talking about these mega schools out here. Well, you could see them plain as day on the side imaging.
Yeah.
And now, you go out and you fish for those same, and those mega schools ain't there, or they're very hard to bite, or they're spread out. And I think that's one of the arguments, and I want your opinion on this. Everybody's like, well, these bass pull out there, and that's where they recover. The ones I'm catching ain't recovering. They're feeding pretty daggone hard,
Yeah.
And for me, ledge fishing isn't what it used to be because of the pressure. But the bass get smart. The bass learn. They get conditioned, maybe not smart. They got tiny little brains. We give them too much credit. But I think you'll see that. I'm afraid we're going to see another A-rig knee-jerk reaction that's going to we're going to look back on it like we look on the A-rig right now and go, that's a stupid rule, but it's there. We're not going to take it out of the books. And I mean, come on. They don't bite the A-rig like they used to, right? Unless you string about 20 together. That was the problem. That was the problem. It's because guys was throwing them 20 deep. But what do you think about it? Because I've seen it, like it was a localized thing, side imaging, and now there's 20 boats, like you said, with the mapping. Because man, I'm old enough. I remember not having GPS. You just got out there with a paper map driving down, hope you didn't hit a log. Well, it's blowing in your face.
Yeah.
So sorry, I'm a little bit everywhere, but what do you think about that, man? Give me a hard input, man.
Like why ledge fishing's tougher now?
Well, why? If you feel like everything will kind of smooth out on its own with forward-facing sonar and the young guys, and how it kind of did with ledge fishing, it's going to get tougher, but bass are going to adjust, and side imaging, all the guys are going to get better because they'll have time on it, and it'll even out. I think that's my part.
Yeah, I mean, I think the same thing. I think that the guys that want to learn it are going to learn it, and the guys that don't want to learn it aren't going to learn it. But yeah, I mean, I'd say that fishing's definitely not getting any easier. I think that with the amount of people that fish now, with the technology and the electronics, back in the day, we didn't even know those fish were out there on those ledges, like feeding like that. Yep. So now you get those guys that everybody goes out there and fishes for them. I mean, they're not just going to sit there and keep getting caught. They're gonna swim. So
that sore mouth will get to them in a minute.
Yeah, but now everybody can see them, and that's the thing. So I mean, I just think that a mixture of that with the pressure and the technology getting better, I think it's just going to be tougher. I think eventually it'll probably be like Japanese fishing. It'll probably be like Japan, but I don't know.
That's a great take. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think that lakes they go in waves too. I think that there's cycles. So I think it also depends on the lake that you're on. If it's like Guntersville right now is in a really good cycle, it just seems to keep getting better and better. I mean, there's tournaments every single day out here, and
wow,
it still takes over 25 pounds to win every single day. So it's crazy.
10 years ago, for Guntersville, we're going to say for Guntersville, it was down.
Yeah.
For Guntersville, it was down.
But all lakes go through this cycle. I mean, we have that here as well.
Yeah.
I mean, all lakes really do go through that cycle.
Smith Mountain went through.
Yeah, Smith Mountain went through it, and Bugs Island went through it. We had a disease of bugs, and that's one of the reasons why it went down. We had the largemouth virus disease.
Douglas, one of my home lakes, is going through that right now.
Yeah. So I mean,
you couldn't place it a top 10 without a 20-pound bag there at one point, and I think it like 12 pounds almost won the BFL last weekend. So
that's pretty sad.
Yeah,
Wow.
You guys were talking a little while ago about the transducers, and I watched a video from someone else that early in the year, and the transducers that some of these guys were putting on their boats. I mean, we're putting transducers on the back of power poles now. Yeah. I mean, we're putting deep sea transducers on power poles. I mean, because I had to go look it up because I didn't know what the heck they were talking about, and I was like, 4 or 5 different anglers had these on there, and there are it's overkill. I don't know. I don't know about you're gonna have to explain this to Tucker, but I think it's kind of an overkill, all these transducers. I mean, some of these guys are running 5. We're picking up a trolling motor that used to weigh about 10 pounds. It's now 50. You got to work out to pick this thing up because it's got so much hanging off the end of it.
I get my curls in.
You got to get your
arm that's strong.
And it can't be natty light curls. It's got to be real curls. So, I mean, I said, you guys going to pick up a few of them plungers today, ain't you? Because, I mean, that's what it looks like now with this big transducer thing on the front. But, what's your take on that? Is it way overkill, or what's on your boat, Tucker?
No, I mean, I've definitely, I've got some transducers for sure because we're allowed to run them. So I'm definitely not going to be left behind with the technology. Fishing these opens. I mean, every single person's got a live scope unit, and I'd say over half the field has more than one. And I'd say, a third of the field that like to do it or have more than one. So yeah, I mean, if you're not running, all the new stuff, you're definitely going to get left behind. People are going to be catching up better on the other stuff. Like you see Scott Martin using perspective on all these fish that are on bed. That stuff is stuff that you have to pay attention to and you have to keep up with. But I mean, I'm going to use it as long as it's allowed to. But if they, if they put any restrictions on it, I'll just abide by that and keep running.
Well, we know, man, you're going to do what you have to do. And that's for me, like I said, I'm a big tech guy. I love my sonars, especially I preached sonars, learning sonar for your weekend warriors. Cause we don't get, and for me, listen, I love fishing, but if I want to see scenery, I live in the Appalachian Mountains. I walk out my front door. I don't hike. I don't bike. I like to catch fish. And fishing is cool. Everybody. Fishing is cool, but catching is cooler. I'm sorry. That's what I'm out there to do. And if I only get one day to be on that water and I go out there and I sweat and I work and I ain't catching nothing, I might as well be at work making money.
Yep.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I'd rather be on the water, but I won't be catching.
So let's talk about this. I mean, you said, you were talking about some of your friends being on the Elite Series, and there's been so much going on this year already, and we're only like 5 or 6 events into the 2024 season, and we've seen Trey McKinney. He's dominating right now, and all we hear is forward-facing sonar. It's that whole thing over, and well, it's getting old, but the whole thing over and over again. And this is why this is not only reason, but the meeting that Geek was talking about, why this meeting has been called, is because of some of the advantages that you guys are having. And we kind of wonder, what do you think is going to be the shakeup? I mean, what's going to, because the schedule's pretty well lined up for the Bassmaster Elites this year. And I know the Elites had to look at it as well. All right, we can all, it's, I don't know why I result back to NASCAR, but some guys are good at the short track and some guys are good at the long track. You know what I'm saying? I mean, some guys are good, and we're going to have to kind of mix that up. And I think Bassmaster has done a great job of mixing that up to where, when they go up north, the electronics thing will play a major role in, whoever wins. But what is your take on the direction that this whole sport's going? I mean, we're trying to get a young guys and thoughts and opinions tonight.
Because it's your sport.
Yeah.
What do you see? In my opinion on that is, you guys are hungry, man. I think BASS and at the time FLW, when they created the college and the high school ranks, we got to get you, if this sport was going to survive, and I think we're starting to see that changeover, if this sport was really going to survive, because kids, we got to get you out on the water. We got to get you catching fish. And I think FLW and BASS, MLF now, has done well. And we're starting to see that influx of kids that have been putting in the time on the water like you. And, time on the water that, and knowledge that by the time you're almost out of high school, it took me till I was 30, and I'm 50 now. So it took me till I was 30 to learn and acquire. And I think that's kind of, the system is working, but it really smacked some people in the face, and they didn't realize how good we're going to make you young men is what it is.
Yeah, no, I mean, I agree. I think that, obviously these guys are especially the young guys coming through the opens. I mean, they're dominating the opens, and I mean, what some of these guys, they should expect them, to do that well. When they get to the elites, they're, fishing against some of the best guys in the whole world, and they're dominating. So when you put dominating fishermen against a bunch of guys that, in a tournament, that are also good, I mean, they're still going to show themselves and do well. So yeah, I don't know how the sport's going to go. Like I was saying, I'm just going to keep up with what I can keep up with. But I definitely like to use forward facing sonar. I mean, it helps me catch fish, but that just goes back, to the whole thing. Like, yeah, I mean, if you're allowed to use it, you're allowed to use it and use it. Yeah. So, I mean, that's just kind of my take on it.
But you're the future of the sport, man. Your buddies, who feel free to name drop to us, who's on the elites already, are the future of the sport. And well, again, me and Brian are NASCAR fans. When do most NASCAR guys, what ends up happening? Listen, I've been watching the sport of bass fishing for years. Very few guys sustain. When they first come in, they hit this run, and then they just kind of, I hate to use the word coast.
And we've seen that the last couple of years with two anglers. I mean, Matty Wong, I'm gonna drop it, and Brian New. I mean, Brian New came in and won his very first event, and he has kind of pretty much coasted since then. But what do you think you're going to see with all the innovation that's going on right now, the time on the water that you guys are spending, because you have turned it in from a weekend Warriors event to a job, and you're
hustling,
and you're hustling now, and then now, like Geek just brought up, we've kind of brought. So we got a bunch of anglers who are in the 50s, 50 plus, and then we got Tucker and all the young kids who are young kids under 21 years old. Some of them can't even drink.
That
are hungry, and they're crushing the field. How do you think we can fix this imbalance, or is it just going to be the strongest going to live? We're hitting you hard. I'm sorry, Tucker.
I don't know if there's a good answer for that, honestly.
Tucker's like, God, guys, you're killing me, putting me on the spot.
No, I mean, I just think if the guys want to learn how to use the technology, then they're going to learn how to use it.
It ain't necessarily about the technology, to be honest. It's about the time.
I think it's time on the water.
It's not. We don't think, me and Geek agree both on that. We don't really think it's the technology as much as the time on the water, learning more techniques. And we brought up Patrick Walters earlier. I mean, Patrick he's the top right now. He is the top angler of this decade. Right now going on, Patrick Walters is it. 6 years in, probably $1 million in the bank.
He's only missed 2 tracks in his whole elite career.
Yeah. Three century belts. The biggest. I said this earlier anyway, but
So I mean, you
And
know,
he spends a lot of time on the water, and
correct.
and he and he studies his electronics, and he does. That's how he does it.
And that's the thing, though. But he's won in a lot of different ways, and it's like you said. That's one of the reasons why I asked you earlier. I said, "Where'd you grow up fishing? How'd you grow up fishing?" I was fishing shallow. I was flipping jigs. I was, running square bills, crankbaits, Carolina rigs. Water traditional fishing.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, man. And that's, to me, I think we're seeing, and Brian, you know it because you've talked about the BASS, the BASS, the clubs.
Yes.
And how the clubs scene. And we're seeing, because that brought in a lot of guys, but it brought in older guys. Guys were 30, 40, when they were becoming pro. And now we've got a true feeder system like most pro sports.
Yeah.
And I think we're starting to see that changeover. And these older guys are starting to go, might ought to get on a diet and start fishing more.
Fishing's all about, like, I would say the biggest thing, fishing's all about adapting. You always got to adapt to the fish. You always got to figure out new ways to catch them. You always got to figure out new stuff about the fish's behavior, because they're not going to be doing the same things that they were 20 years ago, because the fish are getting different pressure than they ever were now. So the fish are constantly adapting every single day that we're out there fishing. So you have to stay on top of it, and you have to keep track of what they're doing. And every time they change and they do different things. So that's one of the biggest things. Definitely staying able to adapt to fish.
And we're learning so much more about fish biology on top of that. I mean, like I said, with these new electronics, we're learning.
Spawning.
Yeah, we're learning so much now about with the electronics, we're learning so much about that. And it's funny. I heard and he ain't even really an older angler. He's my age. And he brought up a couple of weeks ago that I'm still fishing this body of water like I did 10 years ago, and I'm getting my butt kicked. Yeah. And that's what's happening. I mean, it's what's happening in elites. That's what's happening in Major League Fishing.
What happened to me on the BFLs?
That's what's happening in all of it. These guys are. It's almost like they're having to start over, and it's your fault. Sorry, Tucker.
That's what they're blaming. That's what they're blaming.
I mean, it really is.
Yeah, I agree.
What do you think about that? I mean, it really is. They're having to start over.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know specific scenarios of people that I know, but I mean, I guess like you're saying, like people that used to fish back in the day, they can't fish the same way that they were fishing, or what? Or
so I mean, with the new electronics, with the way the young kids are fishing, with the time on the water, with all that stuff that's involved now, they're having to go back and kind of relearn a new pattern, a new way of fishing. New baits have come out. New baits have come out for the forward-facing sonar. We've seen that with heads. I mean, different types of heads for better view on the camera. I mean, it's so much different things have changed that we're kind of wondering here, is it that they don't want to start over? Let's just chop it down, make it even
keep
plain.
The status quo.
Let's just keep the status quo.
Yeah.
Let's keep the forward-facing sonar.
I think that's what it is.
If we get rid of that, we're going to get rid of Lowrance, Humminbird, Garmin, and that's millions of dollars.
Yep.
So if we get rid of all that, we can't get rid of that, but we can, like we were talking about earlier, we can get rid of a couple of transducers. Hey, you're only allowed 1 and 2. You're only allowed 2. You put one on the back of your boat, one on the front of the boat, and that's what you got to live with.
And I'm okay with that.
And I'm okay with that as well.
I hate the whole, how do you feel about, Tucker, how do you feel about the whole argument? Well, they can only use it in practice. Well, in my opinion, if you're only going to use it in practice, let's just cut practice out. Let's add one more day to the tournament. And let's just say, here we go. You're going to use it the whole thing. And it's about finding them. So if, and I put this in quotes, if the argument from those guys are, to me, well, it's like spotlighting deer, right? Which we've
heard that many times.
We know that's BS. You don't catch everyone. You catch, the percentage is low.
No,
at least for me, maybe not you.
Yeah, but you don't just strap it on your boat and go out there and become the best fish in the world. I mean,
And
it's hard to
Yeah.
figure that stuff out. It's taken me 6 years to
Yeah.
of using it to be where I'm at today.
But that's what I'm saying. If that's their argument, that hey, these guys are so good with it, we can't compete, so let's ban it. It's too easy. Then let's just go ahead and do away with practice. Make it a 1 day longer tournament. If catching them's easy and finding them is hard, then let's just make it about finding them, man.
I would like to see it go down to 1 day of practice, to be honest.
Yeah. I think
and it would help the pressure on the lake as well.
Yeah, I think so. I think other than a few guys, I think if you limit that or do something I think the same guys that are smashing them right now are still gonna be right up there at the top, catching them like they are.
There you go.
Because we always talk about that anyway. I mean, a lot of the anglers will go out there and, guys, it's 2024. We got more stats numbers on these lakes of an average of what it's going to take to win a tournament. And we always talk about that, whatever it is on your lake, Tucker. Let's say if the average is like 22 pounds to win a tournament and you got 19, that means you already know you're going to move into the next day. And then, then the final cut. So, everybody already is getting their 19 and going to practice. I mean, they're out looking for more locations, checking some more brush piles and checking some more ledges, some more rocks.
Well, between all the stuff, that you guys have, and I hear this argument a lot. Well, we didn't have, well, you got it now. We didn't have YouTube, and I've had guys send me pictures. Man, we won our club tournament on that spot in your video, man. Thanks. And I'm like, hey, cool. just send me a picture so I can say this is why you watch BassGeek, guys, right? And that's a little harder for me because I don't travel like y'all. So when it's a spot that I'm doing good on, I've learned I guess sometimes I gotta hide some stuff because I do want fish hosts in my tournament, so I don't give them all away. But man, to me, it's good to see the influx. I think it's good for the future of the sport. And all this argument about the product, yeah, has it helped? It has accelerated the young guys because us older guys, I seen it for me, love John Cruz, know him, seen it in a video. He talked about it earlier this year. Now he's rebounded. He's done well, but I think it shocked him. And I had the privilege really to go out with John Soka and really watch a pro who was good with forward-facing sonar.
Yeah.
And when I first really seen that, it did. I was shocked. Like I was shocked in the sense I was like, oh my God, this is the greatest thing I've ever seen. But then I got to thinking about it and I'm like, man, he's catching these fish that I knew were back here off this bluff. And I've never been able to do it. And I'm like, I didn't realize there was so many fish back here. I was catching them down this bluff. I took him to a little spot I knew, and he's catching them back here off this bluff, which, I'd be out there and they'd be busting behind me. But back before that, how did you catch those?
Yeah.
And, unless you got lucky and hit them in the head. So there was, for an old guy, this kind of like, wow, fishing is dead the way I knew it. It's almost like you just mourn somebody dying. And so that's something, Tucker, you're not going to experience because, you're used to this. But, you kind of start thinking, wow, everything you knew about these fishing theories are not exactly right.
Yeah,
and
no,
so
I agree. I agree, like, especially like the older generation growing up with that. I mean, like, I'm sure it's tough, like, seeing like the new technology, being able to adapt with that, and like I mean I definitely see a lot of the guys' perspective of that for sure. I mean I definitely don't. I'm definitely not just live scope. If you don't live scope, you suck. Like no, I mean like
no. You got to be well-rounded. You got to be well-rounded. Me and Brian was talking about that before you come on too. You there's going to be tournaments when you're sight fishing. It's like golfers. You got to be good with the driver. You got to be good with the irons. You got to be good with the wedge. You got to be good with the putter to be consistent.
And these young kids are doing it because they're spending time on the
exactly.
water, because they're, they're homing in on their skills and, learning new skills. And, the game has changed over the last, I'd say YouTube was probably the first big adjustment to bass fishing. It really was. I mean, it was YouTube. Then we had Google Maps, and Maps came out, and that was real big.
Yeah,
and
Google
then
Earth huge.
yeah, Google Earth. There you go. Google Earth came out, and then that was the next big step. And we used to talk about, when I first started this whole thing, about how you were doing your practice and how you were going through all that. And I would go back and look at past videos, past tournaments, past tournament results, and then I would Google Earth it, and then I would just study the whole entire lake.
Yeah.
Because sometimes for some of the younger anglers or older anglers, I'm not gonna say all, but because a lot of the older anglers have been to these same bodies of water over and over again. I mean, they, whoever pays the most money wins. We already know that. So, the younger anglers are doing the Google Earth. They were learning the body of water without spending time on it.
Yep.
But now, I mean, like I said, you pretty much got all that, and you can watch TV, because I've seen that too, on your daggone electronics.
What do you mean who pays the most money wins?
Well, for locations.
Well,
because the county has to put up the money, or the state has to put up the money for the actual tournament.
Gotcha.
So that's really how these.
That's why they come back to the same.
That's why they come back to the same one. I mean, it's yeah. That's I mean, it's I don't know.
Is that why they keep going back to Harris Chain?
Right. And when you guys came, when you guys came to last year, when they came to Bugs Island, I mean, it's a lot of money for the county to pay for them to come. I want to say it's 15 or 30 or something like that, just for the opens. But that's tourism dollars. They bring you in, you're showing off the lake, you're telling everybody there's fish in it. And hopefully somebody go down there and fill up the hotel rooms and the restaurants and all that stuff. And that's how it all works. I mean, you guys you're a damn traveling circus.
You're a commodity, baby.
You're a commodity. You're a traveling circus. It travels from lake to lake to lake, and the county pays for you to show up. And then they sell
podcast name that?
There is a There is a podcast named that.
So let's bring it back down. We wearing poor Tucker out.
Yeah,
so
we're
Tucker, tell us about the rest of your season. What tournaments you really looking forward to?
Yeah.
What you kind of dreading? Which one you kind of dreading? Which one you looking forward to?
I'm looking forward to all the Bassmaster Opens. I think.
Don't give us that PR stuff. Which one's good? Which one are you looking most forward to?
Yeah, I was about to say that.
Oh, okay.
No, I'm worried about Oklahoma. I think Oklahoma is going to be tough. I think La Crosse is going to be tough too. I've never been to either one of those places. I think the Northern Swing is going to be fun. I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to going to St. Clair and catching a bunch of smallmouth, and then also Leech Lake. I think that'll be really cool. But Hartwell is the last event, and that's one of my favorite lakes in the whole country. So hopefully we can be sitting.
Yes.
Hopefully we can be sitting good by the time we get to Hartwell, because I really like that lake. So I think it's going to be fun rest of the season, and I'm really looking forward to it. It's been fun so far, traveling around with Paul and being able to visit all these places and learn these new bodies of water and being able to adapt and figure out how to catch the fish. It's been fun.
Well, if the creek don't rise, I'll see you in Hartwell. It's on the calendar. So I plan on coming down there, because I thought it'd be great to go the last one, because we go, the top 10 will be announced, who's moving on, and
heck yeah,
all the great things there. Plus, I've only been to Hartwell a few times.
I love that lake.
Yes.
It's a good place.
Yeah.
So we're really excited about that, and coming down there and hanging out with all the Bassmaster Open anglers and the great team with the Open. So Hunter, man, we didn't want to push you too hard tonight, but we really want to get the young guys' opinion about all this stuff going down.
Yeah, because all the young guys sure putting them opinions out.
Everybody, it's an opinionated 2020 2024. Nobody. So we went from people screwing.
You know what they
up.
say opinions are like, and some of them are to keep their pants on so we don't have to see or hear about them. You know what I'm saying?
We went from drama mama in 2023 to opinions in 2024. So, I mean, the world of bass fishing has been turned upside down, and, it's going to eventually stop. It's going to eventually, people going to quit. I mean, I talked to some guys a year ago, said the electronics that's on Tucker's boat cost more than my boat. It's like the cars I see going down the road with $6,000 worth of rims on a 1980 Cadillac. I mean, you know what I'm saying?
I got a Triton that looks just like that.
So I mean,
I didn't buy mine full price. I got deals on them, so
right.
I didn't pay full price for all those.
So I mean, we're just at this. We're at this point, and it's a transition point in the world of bass fishing, because this has been the biggest leap in technology that the bass fishing
and youth
and in youth that the bass fishing
world,
and yeah, and it's all coming together, and we're seeing the fireworks and the explosion, and we're enjoying watching it. And Tucker, we appreciate you coming on and talking with us tonight. Good luck with the rest of the 2024 season, and brother, man, I'll be seeing you Hartwell.
Sounds good. Thank you. I had fun talking to y'all.
And I hope we didn't scare you off tonight.
No. I had fun talking. It's good to hear everybody's opinions.
Yes, it is, and that's why I didn't put any. There's no script. I have nothing on a piece of paper here, so I mean, I just gonna take down some notes.
I got some jackal risers and poppers and all kinds of other stuff.
All right, guys.
Danger zone over here. I gotta hook him in a minute.
We'll be right back, everyone. Man, oh man, what great conversation with Tucker tonight. I mean, that's really what we wanted to have, and we're trying to get a youth's opinion on this. I don't know if he answered as much as we wanted, but I mean,
well, we understand he's not wanting to stir it up, so we get it. But we hear, like I said, from the old heads. We just ain't hearing the youngins.
The youngins, I didn't mean to cut you off, Geek, but we're hearing from the youngins. They're with their sticks and their electronics. I mean, that's how we're hearing from them. Beautiful. And they're cashing checks, beautiful. And they're leading angler of the year right now, as well as rookie of the year right now.
That's right.
So we are hearing from them with that, and we're hearing the other side as well. So it's going to be an interesting 2024, everybody. It really is. And, I just read a post a little while ago on the BassCast.com Facebook page, like 2 seconds ago, about forward-facing sonar. And it's kind of, the whole topic really is getting kind of old. I mean, it really is.
So tired of it.
But, we're going to see. I'm not going to drag it out anymore. We're going to see.
This happened in professional crappie fishing too. It did. Yeah. It's already came. That's why they called it Panoptics originally, was because it was for crappie fishing.
Yes.
And so now they don't even argue about it.
And we know John Sokop was big into that.
Yes.
And that's how he got his start. Because you guys know we had him we've had him on the show many times.
Yeah.
And that's how he kind of got his start into bass fishing. And then he moved over and dominated the NPFLs, and then, come into the Bassmaster Elites. So, I mean, that's how he worked his way up and, got so damn good at it.
Yep.
All right, guys. Appreciate having Tucker on, man. Like I said, we just thought we'd have a discussion about it. There's so much going on in the world of bass fishing right now. And the basscast.com, don't forget, we'll be at the Cat Championship this weekend. Hank, excuse me, I'm getting choked up. Hank's got a brand new video. We'll share it to our Facebook page like we always do.
Thank you.
And if you have not become a Patreon, we'd love you to support the show. We've been trying to do this. I don't know. I'm not too good at selling. I suck at it, to be honest. I'm not gonna lie, because I don't want to push something on the people. But for us to go with no commercial free, which we'd love to do, we got to pay for it. I mean, we really do. I mean, because it is another expense that we have, just like any other business, and commercials don't help pay for all of it.
No.
The commercial helps pay for about half of it, and it does not pay for our time at all. So I mean, it just helps. But because we love doing it, we're fishing geeks. We get to meet a lot of great people, get to talk to a lot of great people. That's it from my side. We'll see you guys all again next week. Geek, I hope you start feeling better, my brother.
You keep me on these roids, I feel pretty damn good.
So let's pray for Geek. Hopefully he gets well and gets taken care of. Maybe we can get Geek on some multivitamins right here. It's gonna keep him.
I take multi. Lots
of
bad lungs.
Bad lungs. So hopefully we can get Geek well again and ready for our next show. And like I said, hopefully we can get some of these NPFL guys on. It's kind of been quiet from that side here lately, and I understand that.
A lot of time between their tournaments.
It is a lot of time between their tournaments. So hopefully we can get some NPFL guys on and talk bass fishing. So have a great night, everyone. Thank you all for listening. Make sure you follow the show and leave a comment as always. Have a great night.